Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today? Today, I want to make a rough comparison of Muslim countries and Christian or Western countries, Christian countries, countries that are based in Christianity, that came from Christianity. It's difficult to talk about Christian countries because no one really uses those terms. So it's not as if they are things like Christian countries, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Now, I'm Muslim, so obviously I'm going to be biased in favor of Muslim countries, but let's try to be factual here. And also, um, I say Muslim countries, but it's a sad state of affairs and a reflection of where the Muslims stand today that there's such a thing as a Muslim country because there is no such concept and there never was such a concept because the concept of one single ummah or roughly translated one single Muslim community was it existed for ever since the dawn of Islam. There were no borders, there was no border control and passports. People could just travel. There were, in effect, huge city states, if you like, based on the city state of Medina that was started by the Prophet. So places like Baghdad and even Cairo was a Egyptian city. People were recognized as different peoples like Egyptians, but there was no such thing as Baghdadians or Syrians like it is today. They were all considered Muslim and all considered Arab. That's just FYI. Today, of course, we have different countries that were created by British and French people. Sykes-Picot, Sykes and Picot, called the Sykes-Picot agreement. They divided the whole of the Muslim world up into a number of different countries. Iraq wasn't even a country, but it was created by them. So today we sit with a situation where we have countries, and a lot of people are proud. I'm a Tunisian and I'm a Moroccan. When Morocco was just referred to as the Maghrib, Shatr al Maghrib, in the line of Maghrib. When you stand in Mecca and you look towards the setting sun during the Waqt of Maghrib, you're looking towards Morocco. That's why they were called Al Maghrib or Maghribi. But things have come a long way since then, so there's a lot of things that must be undone because the sentiment of the people on the ground, not the politicians, who, of course, uh, colluded with all of this, but the people on the ground who are always the ones who give you the proper measurement of the status quo, they are still thinking in terms of one ummah. And if you say things, I've said things like, um, I can tell that you're from Egypt by the way that you speak Arabic, because they all speak different dialects of Arabic. And the response I got was Astaghfirullah. And I was shocked and I asked why. And they said, we all Muslim, even you. And I heard this from an Egyptian and more than one Moroccan and a Saudi student who was studying medicine and came here to come and learn English for 3 months. But anyway, let's get to the point. The point I want to make is let's roughly compare and try to be as objective and factual as possible. If we take Muslim countries, let's take North America and South America as Christian countries, right? So starting from the top, we have Canada, then the United States, then Mexico, and then we have all those South American countries, all of them Spanish, with the exception of Brazil, that's Portuguese. Then we take North Africa and the Middle East as the Muslim areas. Okay, there's also the Far East, like I mean, we can't ignore Indonesia, which is the largest Muslim population in the world by far. There's also Malaysia, what used to be Java that doesn't really exist anymore. They all speak Bahasa, all Muslim countries. If you look at North America and South America, the thing that stands out like a sore thumb is this notion that they are a divided society, divided between the law abiding citizen, if you like, and then the criminals, the, organized crime like the mafia, and then just gangs who indulge in criminal activities every day. That's the purpose of their lives. And it's almost as if this whole, well, not as if, because the society is based in Christianity. And I'm sure a Christian would say, no, they are not one of us, but they grew up amongst you, they grew up Christian. I mean, a lot of the mafia members, they go to church, they wear crosses, they even go to church to go and pray for success when before they go out to go and murder or steal. That's what they do. They have a cross as part of their rituals. I don't know if you can believe television, but I've seen documentaries where they have some saint which they've adopted as their saint, which is part of their initiation rituals. So they are a Christian people, but they indulge in crime with their perceived notion that God is on their side, if you like. Makes you think a lot. It makes me think a lot about the terrorists on the Muslim side. Maybe they the same kind of mentality. They feel that with Islam on their side, they have the right to murder and maim innocent people as long as they make dua before they do it. It's a kind of a similar thinking. It's warped, but it's very, very similar. And you'll find that, to stick with the Christian countries now, you'll find that that is commonplace throughout the Americas, North and South, in Canada as well. I mean, don't think that Canada is this perfect place. There is the mafia, the Canadian mafia, they're rife in Canada. We know that they're all over in the USA. Mexico, there are some towns and cities in Mexico that's under the complete control of the Mexican mafia. And of course, when you get to South America, we all know about Colombia and the Medellin cartel, but it's just as bad there. So, if we now look at Muslim countries, there isn't a single Muslim country where there is mafia and drug smuggling. Maybe in Afghanistan, but look at their infrastructure. The British were there, the Russians were there for 10 years, the Americans were there for 20 years. It's so badly messed up that it's not actually a Muslim administered country. Now that the Taliban has taken over for quite a few months now in January 2023, they're clearing up the drug problem. They're clearing up drug addicts who were allowed to operate virtually freely with the American control, because they imposed democracy on the people. And after 20 years, they couldn't stop the Taliban from ruling. The Taliban is ruling again now. And things are going back to what it was like before. And there's safety now, there's security now. The drugs are being eradicated. The Americans couldn't eradicate the poppy fields, but they are doing the Taliban. Why can't the Americans just leave well alone? They want to rule the entire world. They want to control land, sea, and air, and outer space. That is their intention. That's if they survive that long. So I'm not saying that it's all milk and honey in Muslim countries, but Muslim countries live in a certain way. They live in peace. And the world, the original world, which is in the Middle East, which started in the Middle East, that's the real world. America is trying to paint them and the Western world as this the new world, as if that is the world that we are all living in. And when they talk about the world, they're talking about their world. It's not their world, it's the Western world. There is a Western world and then there's an Eastern world. Get up off your lazy backsides and go and travel as you are instructed to. The whole world was made in different tribes and nations so that you may get to know one another. Not go and lay on the beach or go and shop in the malls overseas. Go and look and see what the people are doing. If you think that the country is so bad, then go there. If you think that the country is so good, then go there and go and see. But don't sit and watch television and be an armchair politician and make your decisions based on falsehoods. And then you as a Muslim become a anti-Muslim person yourself. Those are the worst. The Muslim anti-Muslims are the worst kind because they got no fear of being critical and mocking and saying things based on the little bit of knowledge that they have. They normally are stupid people with a little bit of knowledge. But in any case, I've said what I want to say. Travel, go to different countries and go and see. Go and see what it's like in Muslim countries. Go see if they really are so backward. I'm not talking only about Dubai, or Dubai is not really a Muslim country. It's run by Muslims, and they have a king or a sultan, and it's Arab, and they speak Arabic. But on the ground, most of the people that you come across are Westerners. So they're not a good measure of a Muslim country. They're a lot like Turkey. Turkey was so secularized by Kemal Ataturk, which is another story. I, of course, read Kemal Ataturk's biography and the history of Turkey, a few books on the history of the Uthmanian people. And I'm not going to use the word empire because you know what it is. The Turks were the first non Arab Muslims who had a caliphate. They were the caliphs for many centuries and they did an excellent job of it. Um, but that's another story. But Turkey was secularized by Kemal Ataturk um, because he felt that it's because of Islam and the indulgence of the Imams in Turkey that that made the Uthmanians so backward, and they actually became what they were called the sick man of Europe. And today, half of Turkey is secular, as they are called, or as they call themselves, and the other half is Muslim. So half of them live according to Islam and for Islam, and the other half live for this dunya. So they spend their time working. Very interesting situation because they all still have everyone in Turkey. I was there, spent quite some time in Turkey, beautiful country and a very beautiful people. Um, they're very, they're very. There's a lot of humility amongst them, and there's a lot of you can feel Islam amongst them when you're walking amongst them, when you're talking or when you're trying to talk to them because they don't all speak English. And I'm sure you know what I mean when I talk about you can feel Islam. You know, there's no aggression. There's no, that look in their eyes where it looks like they want you to disappear off the face of the earth. There's nothing like that. Although you must be careful because there's a lot of Russian tourists there, and they a bit, they got that bit of get away from me attitude, that aggressive nature that we see so much of here in South Africa. Which is another thing, another difference between the Western world and the Muslim world. I have on my bucket list a visit to Iran and to Pakistan and Kazakhstan and Chechnya. I would love, and I would love to be amongst the people of those countries and, spend some time there and see what it's like there. Because I know I've experienced it before. The propaganda that's spread on social media and on the news about a lot of Muslim countries, it's not the way things are actually on the ground. And the only way to find it out is to travel, to go there and to go and see, because you'll be pleasantly surprised and it will change your worldview. Traveling does that. It changes this blinkered view that you have, which normally is based on fallacy. So travel. Travel to all corners of the world to go and learn, not to go and sit on the beach. Salam.